Now, just yesterday, Iranian security forces opened fire again on crowds near Tehran. This time they were marking the 40th day of mourning for a woman shot dead while protesting. You'll know, I'm sure by now, that the majority of that protesting that's been taking place is around women's rights, and particularly the hijab rules, the enforced wearing of the hijab. Videos showed thousands of people walking along roads to reach the grave in Karaj of a woman called Hadith Najafi, who was amongst a number of women to become a symbol of these anti-government protests in Iran, not just in the capital, but across Iran. And it's not clear yet where these protests will lead or whether they will ultimately achieve the very things that they are fighting for. They have certainly, these brave women and the men and boys even sometimes standing alongside them in these protests, they've certainly grabbed the world's attention. And someone who has been trying to do that for a long time and succeeded in doing that for a long time joins me now. Masih Alinejad, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for hosting me.
Is it clear to you yet where this groundswell of protest is going to take things? It's hard to judge from where I'm sitting anyway, but what are your thoughts?
Let me actually tell you from inside Iran and use their own words. Hadith Najafi was only 22 years old. Before joining the protest, she actually filmed herself. And she sent a message to the rest of the world that I'm going to the protest to end this regime. Clearly started from the brutal death of Masih Alinejad, who got killed by hijab police, but you don't hear a single slogan in the streets that people saying that we want to get rid of compulsory hijab or we want to abolish morality police. It is beyond that. This is a protest for dignity. For basic rights, women are being like hostage. For 40 years, women are being told that what to wear, how to think, what kind of lifestyle to follow. But this is the time that the revolution is gaining momentum. This is just the beginning of the end. People, men and women, are shoulder to shoulder, and they're saying that we're ready to die, but we won't live with humiliation.
So this is about bringing down that regime in its entirety, is it? From their words, from their mouths.
And I want to actually take you back again to the video that Hadith Najafi made. It just breaks my heart to even repeat her words. She made a video and saying that, I'm joining the protest to be the voice of Masih Alinejad, but in the future, when the change came, I'm going to be proud of myself that I was part of the demonstration. And this is the message of many schoolgirls, many teenagers who are leading this revolution within the society.
Some of the video clips that have ended up on social media have really chimed over here. One was that school full of girls forcing out of the school a member of could you fill me in on that organisation that he was from? Because they clearly had no time for his words and they made him leave the school campus in no uncertain terms. And these were 15, 16-year-old girls. Yeah. What organisation is he from, and what do you imagine was the intention of putting him there to speak to those girls?
That's a very good point. Look, the schoolgirls actually kick the Minister of Education system out from school because they've been fed up by listening to empty words saying that, calm down, we're going to do an investigation. But at the same time, they're killing schoolgirls, they're killing teenagers, they're killing peaceful protesters. And schoolgirls were kicking him out and saying that we are not waiting for you to do an investigation. We want you to go. We want the whole regime to be gone. And let me just give you a better picture of what's going on in Iran right now. It has been more than 50 days, and the regime kills more people that make people more determined to take back to the streets. The regime comes and say that we're ready to talk to you. Any opposition group, any activist, we are ready to talk to you. People go to the street and say that we don't want to even talk to you. We want to end this regime. So this is a significant message. And that is why I'm saying that maybe it's not going to happen overnight. It's a marathon. It's a long road ahead. It is going to.
It's an attempt, I suppose, is it, at a power shift happening. And it might happen slowly. And it may well be very costly in terms of the lives of young women in particular, but not only young women, because tens of people, maybe more, have died since the beginning of
Hundreds.
this, haven't they? Hundreds, yeah.
You're right. Look, like this is just the beginning, but as you mentioned, we see that the young generations are determined and they're not going to give up. And we see the sense of unity, very unique sense of unity this time, which makes it different from other massive protests that had take place in Iran. Not only the sense of unity among Iranians, Kurds, Baluch, Arab, Turks, between men and women, we see the sense of unity among oppositions outside Iran, inside Iran as well.
And I must say that from my perspective as a journalist, obviously, I knew about the morality police. I knew about the hijab rules and how heavily enforced they are. But it was that picture of Mahsa lying beaten in her hospital bed before she died that made me just triggered an absolute rage in me when I saw it. And I thought, well, why did it take this for me to be enraged by what's going on there? This is women being utterly controlled and silenced and literally dragged off the streets. I mean, it doesn't get more horrific.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it made you furious by just seeing that picture. No,
it did. Yeah,
it made me more furious because I was the one actually created a campaign called "My Camera is My Weapon," and I asked women inside Iran that anytime you're being harassed, film it. Because in the West, many people say that compulsory hijab is your culture. The female politicians from your country, they went to Iran and they wore hijab in the name of respecting our culture, which was an insult to a nation. So that is why, for me, it made me furious because it didn't need for Mahsa to be killed. It didn't need for Nikah Shakarami, 16-year-old girl, to be killed. It didn't need for Sarina, 16-year-old, to be killed. It didn't need for hundreds of people to be killed, for the whole world to understand that this is like ISIS in power in Iran, killing women.
And again, I'm afraid I naively at the very beginning thought, well, they won't kill children, but they've killed children in this, haven't they?
Can you believe that in 21st century, we were here to talk about that children getting killed because they want to show their hair, because they want to sing, they want to dance, they want to be every teenager, like having normal life.
Free,
and still
alive.
I'm struggling to get the attention of the rest of the world that this is the time that you have to recognize this revolution and cut your ties with these murderers.
And I don't want to dilute the conversation away from Iran in any way by bringing Afghanistan into this, but I do want to bring it in because by the same token, and you know, there's a very definite reason why British people should focus on Afghanistan, but by the same token, we very quickly shifted our gaze from the fact that the Taliban now has its hands firmly around women's necks again there.
I mean, you didn't actually change the topic. It is all about women of Iran and Afghanistan. You know, the first group that took to the streets to protest against the Islamic Republic over the brutal death of Mahsa Amini were the women of Afghanistan, because they are the one that they know the pain. They are the one that this is the same battle. It's not Iranian women fighting for themselves. Iranian people in the street facing guns and bullets because they are trying to protect democracy from Taliban, from Islamic Republic. These are the more dangerous regime. And not only women of Iran and Afghanistan, let me be very clear. Right now that we're talking, the Islamic Republic sent drones to Putin to kill innocent Ukrainians. So you see, this is a war that people from Iran and Afghanistan leading this movement against the warmongers. We need the Western countries to recognize this and address Taliban and Islamic Republic like terrorist group and stop legitimizing them or negotiating with these barbaric Islamic states.
Masih, I'm so glad you came on the programme. Thank you for speaking to me. Masih Alinejad, Iranian journalist and activist, a long-time campaigner against the compulsory hijab in Iran and all the oppression that goes with that. It's 3:00.